In this dedicated persons episode, a mad woman tries to kidnap my stepson after accusing me of doing so. The background is that I am a person of mixed ethnicity. In my 29 years on this planet, I have been mistaken for several different ethnicities, yet I am actually African American and Caucasian. The difference with me is that my father is Caucasian, thus my hair is straight, but normally it may be assumed. Originally from Texas, I am frequently mistaken for Mexican. However, I currently reside in Massachusetts, and up until now, I have never had to deal with anyone because of my race. In addition, my spouse is a Caucasian woman who had a child before to our marriage. Since his father isn't as involved in his life, I took on the role since I adore this woman and treat this young child as though he were my own. I have been in his life since he was 2 years old, and he is currently 5 years old. Let's go on to the narrative. Since I'm asleep, my wife generally just goes and takes care of things herself. She needed to run a few more errands and get a few things from the grocery store. I work at night. However, I was awake on this specific day, so I offered to go get her. She does a lot and works hard, so I felt compelled to do something for her so she could unwind for the day. I brought my son along so she could relax and recover, and it allowed me to spend some quality time with my son. After running all the errands without incident, we went to the grocery shop to wrap out the day. Being a normal 5-year-old, my kid was full of energy, running ahead of me, smiling, and talking to everyone he saw. As long as he doesn't hurt anyone and stays in my line of sight, I usually don't mind. An older woman enters at the other end of the aisle as I'm walking down it in search of canned corn, and my son jogs to the end. Being the charming social butterfly that he is, my son comes over and says, "Hello," with excitement. I'm 4. And me, Brian. God bless his tiny heart. "Hello there," the woman says, looking down. Running around unsupervised is not something you should do. Come on, let's locate your folks. I believed she simply hadn't seen me, so I didn't give her statement much thought. "Brian, please come back here, buddy." Because he's 4, he runs back toward me with excitement and begins to spin around. The woman passes me and pauses behind me as I'm still looking through the shelves. Again, since you have to share the aisles and it's a grocery store, I don't think much of it. This woman actually blocks my path as I turn my basket around and head toward the front cash terminals. She pushes her cart in front of me once more while I apologize and try to move by her. I genuinely believed she was simply becoming confused, so I apologized again and tried to go around again, but she again blocked my way. The dialogue that follows. Me: "I apologize for it. We'll move aside for you." The woman: "Well, I don't believe so. With that youngster, you're not going anywhere." Me: "Do you mean my son?" The woman: "It isn't your kid. You're Mexican, and he's white. Before he told me his name, you most likely didn't even know it." Me: "Yes, whatever, lady. Are you able to just move? My wife is waiting impatiently for us and isn't at home." Lady: "Quit lying. You pervert. You're not going anywhere with him." My son had been standing by me the entire time, grasping my leg since he was genuinely starting to get terrified. I had a short fuse anyway, and the lack of sleep was making me upset. Me: "He's standing near me because he trusts me, as you can see, and since you're frightening him, how about you buzz off?" The woman: "No, you are the reason he is afraid. He simply isn't sure how to put it yet." She gives my son a glance. "Now hurry up, my love. I'm come to save your life. Join me." Fortunately, my son was able to let her know that he would not be going anywhere with her, but she refused to listen. She actually took hold of my son and started to flee. Since I honestly could not comprehend what was truly happening, it took me by surprise. My son screamed loudly because he was so afraid, and this woman said, "Don't worry, sweetie. He is not going to harm you. I swear." I was abruptly brought back to reality and started after this insane witch. Fortunately, a store employee stops her before she can go after I screamed for people to stop her and warned that she was abducting my son. "Lady, you're stopping me, but why?" "This Mexican is attempting to abduct my grandson." My son is crying uncontrollably, reaching out his arms and yelling for me. Even after my son repeatedly slapped her face, this woman was unrelenting and would not let go. I won't lie, I laughed a little. A manager now arrives and inquires about the situation. In front of me, the woman spoke. "Lady, this," indicating me. "My grandson is being abducted by a pervert, and I was merely attempting to get away." Me: "You crazy, that's my son. Let him leave now." The management was unsure of what to think. I don't hold him responsible. I took out my phone and showed him photos of my son and myself from a year ago as evidence that he was in a strange circumstance. This woman persisted in accusing me of falsifying the pictures. Like, just how would you go about doing that? Whatever, I'll never know. Unfortunately, there were only 2 other women present who agreed with the crazy and claimed that I was trying to abduct my own son because our skin tones were too dissimilar to be a family. I was actually pleased when one of them phoned the police since I knew they could examine the surveillance cameras. To have things resolved more quickly, I still called my wife to ask if she might visit the business. She hurried to the store as soon as I explained what was happening. She arrived at roughly the same time as the police. The insane women were testifying before the police. My spouse approached. My youngster said, "Mama, help," as soon as Mom entered. When my wife saw this woman holding my son, she instantly became enraged because she is a real mama bear. Now the wife let him go. "I apologized, lady. I was merely attempting to shield him from this pervert here." Lady number 2. "Yes, we witnessed him attempting to abduct him, but this woman intervened to save him." The officer is perplexed as he stares at the woman. "I believe this to be your grandson, officer." "Wife, I don't know who that woman is." She pulls out her phone and displays a photo of my mother-in-law to the police. "I apologize, lady, because this is not my grandson, but I was merely attempting to shield him from this vile pervert here." "Yes, I saw the entire incident," lady number 2. "He grabbed the youngster and attempted to flee with him, but this woman intervened." "Yes, lady number 3, I also witnessed it. You should be grateful that this woman was there to save your son, because you clearly just let him lose forever. He deserves to be imprisoned." "Who are you referring to again, wife?" All 3 of the wild women gestured at me. "Oh, you mean my husband, wife?" "One husband, one lady. Who do you think phoned me and brought me here so quickly, wife?" When I showed my ID to the police, my wife and the manager followed suit. To further demonstrate that we are a true family, we each displayed photos of ourselves from our phones. With a nod of satisfaction, the officer returned our phones and made some notes. For some reason, the 3 women persisted in claiming that this was all a hoax, that my wife was involved in the kidnapping, and that we should be taken into custody. At this time, my wife lost it and started using foul language. She certainly made her point, though I won't reiterate it here. The insane trio was the final nail in the coffin. "Do the cameras work in here?" The officer asked the manager as he turned to face him. "Yes, manager, they are inside and out." "All right, officer, let's go review." The 3 women's features turned ghastly pale. As I got into the parking lot, the officer looked at the outside camera and saw me get my son out of my car. He also watched me walk up and down the aisles, and most significantly, the woman grabbed my boy and fled. When he got back, he asked whether you wanted to file charges. "Yes, I would," responds the lady. "Why would I be asking you that question?" the officer adds. "Shut up and sit down." I answer, "Absolutely," when he turns to face me and asks the same question again. Lady 1 was accused of wrongful detention, child endangerment, false police report, and attempted kidnapping. The other 2 women were also accused of fabricating a police report. Lady 1's situation is made worse by the fact that my son is easily bruised and that she left some horrible marks on him from her grip, yet he is unharmed. Her criminal record now includes a charge of child abuse. Due to the epidemic, I am unsure of the exact time of my court appearance later this year. In a few weeks, I will be contacted again by the officer. Who is the biggest bully here? First of all, how could lady number 1 have failed to notice that the child was with his father and attempting to return to him when she was dragging him away and he was slapping her in the face to express his want to see his father? That alone should have made it clear. But before that even occurred, what should have happened? If she was truly that worried, which I'm not sure why she would be, she could have approached the child and asked him, "Is that your dad?" Since he wasn't in any kind of distress or anything strange. Her other 2 friends, ladies 2 and 3, are merely her little cheerleaders in the background, trying to support whatever she's doing without really knowing what's going on, and the fact that he's pressing charges, which seem like very serious charges to press on someone. Attempted kidnapping, false imprisonment, providing a false police report, and child endangerment, among the other ones that she got later. However, it seems that she didn't even consider that at all because she believed the father was Mexican looking. Tell me what you would do in this circumstance and who you believe to be the bully. When my mother requested an entitled mother to give up my hair, she refused, ruining her own life in the process. I had really long, beautiful, filthy blonde hair when I was younger because I never chopped it under any circumstances. Many people would beg to touch it, and I was okay with it as long as they had my consent. In order to get some items for dinner that evening, my mother accompanied me to a grocery shop when I was 7 years old. When we arrived at the store, my mom got what she needed, but she didn't have the bread from the other side. I was small and quick, so she sent me to grab it. When I arrived to the bread, I chose the brand we always bought. Since I loved baguettes and other breads at the time, I completely forgot my mom was waiting for me when I saw the baguettes, so I grabbed a loaf and went back to her. I felt someone tug on my hair as I was leaving the bread aisle to return to my mom, and they didn't just tug, they yanked it. I cried so hard that my mother heard me crying across the store, and they pulled so hard that I thought my hair would fall out. It turns out that a child my age wanted to touch my hair, so his mother, I'm referring to his mother, who is 41 years old, pulled my hair to allow her child to do so. My mother hurried over and commanded the woman to release me. The conversation proceeded as follows. "Let my daughter go," my mother said. "My child just wanted to touch her hair. She has very pretty hair," the entitled mother remarked. "It stings that she tugged at my hair. You could have just asked, Mom. I can report assault to the police. You can't just pull children's hair. I may report you to the police for harassing both my child and me," entitled mom. "All I did was let my son to touch her hair. First of all, my mother, you assaulted my child, and I'm not pestering you. Secondly, calling the police will simply make matters worse for you." The entitled mother did, in fact, call the police, and both of them took our statements. As we would learn later, the entitled mother had given the police a wildly dramatic and inflated complaint, claiming that I had consented to her child touching my hair and that my mother had suddenly began to harass the entitled mother. The cops had received the real report from my mother. I was requested to provide a report, but I was too frightened and exhausted by the ordeal to say much. They looked at the security tape to see what truly transpired. Please be patient with me as I forget the next portion. After deciding to file a lawsuit against the entitled mom for abuse, my mom was punished for filing a fake police report and imprisoned for 6 months. To top it all off, the cops will undoubtedly look at the security camera footage if she is in a store and lies to them about what happened. For what reason did she not believe that was the inevitable result? No matter how cool you think someone's hair is, why would you pull on it to the point where the girl was on the verge of tears? That doesn't even make sense. She yanked it so forcefully that the young girl believed she was going to weep, even though you shouldn't touch it in the first place. Here's the scenario. So tell me what you would do if you were in this circumstance and who the biggest bully was.